I am live. It's not something I do very often. I am live. Oh, yes. Okay. So I'll keep that running. Minimize that. See what happens while we're here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is talk about what's going on with Royal Mail, and I do have some followers on this YouTube channel, but I haven't been live or done anything for extremely long time. So what I'm going to do is outline from a postman's point of view and also a reseller's point of view what's what I see happening with Raw Mail. And um, there is a fair bit of things going on today. So I'm going to switch screens to this. What's happening? So, what's happening? Today, we've been on strike. We've all throughout the country. There's about 1,150,000 members of the union who have um, balloted to go on strike, and there is loads of people stood outside their depots and post offices even on strike today. So I wanted to sort of outline what's going on. There is strikes planned for the first one was today. The other is planned for Tuesday the 31st, and the other is for the 8th and 9th of September. But it may not stop there. We will have to see after uh, what the board of directors and the CWU come up with. So um, we'll point out that the post office crowns, also went on strike today, and they are on strike tomorrow. So if you've got, for instance, an original post office where they haven't merged into, for instance, a co-op or some other local food chain where there's a counter and then there's a post office. The original counters with the big screens, they are called crowns, and they are run by Post Office Limited, which is still government controlled, possibly government owned, not sure. But they basically work with Royal Mail. Um, well, obviously, as you know, you get your parcels. A lot of the time, you will take your parcel into a post office, whether if you're in a reseller, you sometimes take it in with a sheet of paper and a load of in a sack, and basically hand it over, and then there's a collection later on that day. A job that I used to do all the time. Um, Next week, the post office staff, the people who run the post office and the supply who look after the post offices, they will go on strike. So there will be disruption as well next Tuesday. Let's not forget there's a bank holiday Monday, and then Royal Mail are back out again for the second date, the 31st. So the window of actually getting parcels in the post is small. So when collections comes to a post office and picks up your mail, what happens to it then? It goes to a mail center to get sort of split up into which area it goes, and then goes on some main lorries. Um, yeah, there's a lot happens in 24 hours to get your parcel through. So there's still going to be problems. Now, eBay, which is what most resellers use, um, have announced that they will monitor the feedback and remove it where appropriate. Appropriate. That's why I don't do many lives, 'cause I can't speak. Um, where so that's good. Um, so yes, there's lots going on. Now, there isn't another ballot that's going to go ahead. I'm quite surprised it wasn't done sooner. Now, the people we work with at Royal Mail also have uh, a team that looks after the buildings, the cleaning, and so on, and the maintenance of like the post offices or anything that needs painting or anything like that. That team will now be will be balloting to go on strike as well. Although that won't impact resellers as such, it may work. They may be going out with us again. We're not sure. Now, the way things are at the moment, we've announced dates, but there's a lot of issues. So the first strike is about pay. The second strike is about the terms and conditions and the fairness of what is being proposed. Why are we striking? We were all out of in the pandemic. We were face to face with the public. We had many COVID boxes. We had to deal with Christmas level parcels, and it was very difficult at times. We have been given a 2% pay rise. Yes, that happened a few weeks ago, and we had no say in it whatsoever. Well, our union represents us, and they had absolutely no say in that. It was forced through by executive order. So, as we know, the cost of living has increased. There are many companies that are at the moment discussing about pay rises, and you will see many have given somewhere in the region of 11%, somewhere around cost of inflation pay rises. That is happening. Um, but that has been happening. Now, in the news today, which was something quite fresh for most of us, is a possible takeover. If I can get this bigger. Royal Mail Group on Thursday said it has been notified by the UK government that it thinks Visa Equity Investments may be planning to increase its stake in the postal company to more than 25%, and therefore it is reviewing the situation. Secretary of State for Business, Energy, Industrial Strategy Kawasaki Kawandi told Royal Mail that it reasonably suspects that arrangements are in progress or contemplation, which, if carried into effect, will result in Visa increasing its shareholding from 25% or less to more than 25%. Such a step will trigger an event under the National Security Investments Act I don't know his surname, is therefore exercising his called-in power under the Section 1 of the NSI Act to investigate the increase in the Luxembourg company's stake. The act was introduced in January and it allows the UK government ministers to more closely scrutinise approaches by overseas interests. It also means that the UK government will be able to impose certain conditions on the takeover or block it. Royal Mail, a former state owned company, is politically sensitive as it's a huge employer in the UK and it's responsible for the Universal Postal Service. The Universal Postal Service, just to remind you, is basically deliveries to your door at least once a day. Um, that is a condition of the USO. Visa's most recent notification to Royal Mail in July indicated that it held just over 22% of the total voting rights in the company at the time, up to 21 previously. Excuse me. Visa has steadily increased its stake in Royal Mail since taking a 3.1 holding back in March 2020. Since September last year, Visa has steadily increased its stake more in 1% increments from 17% from 16 in share in September and 18% and so on, so on, so on, so on. So they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and slowly taking over the company, which its shareholding price has been sort of up and down. Of course, that's mostly down to the pandemic. It went sky high, um, and now it's extremely low once again. So um, the takeover is pretty big for everyone involved, um, and it could be what the chairman currently wants, um, because he keeps pleading that there's no money in the company and that they're losing £1 million a day. Yeah, not really right. So we've got further strikes ahead, which are about pay, and the second one is about terms and conditions. As I say, from Tuesday, and then we'll be going through the terms and conditions one. We did two ballots basically up to now. Royal Mail are attempting to reshape the company to compete with every Hermes and DPD and all the rest of it. That's what our chief executive, Simon Thompson, is telling us all the time. And we are going to run into the ground. Hello, Tori. Hello, Neil. Hello, guys. Sorry, I wasn't. I was off screen reading my slides. But it's good to see you here. I think there's three of us here now. I'm just recording this because well, someone has to talk about Raw Mail, so I decided to do that today and to try and explain the situation out there because there's a lot going on now. I don't know if um, audio will come through, but we'll take a chance. I'm going to play this. All right. Hopefully, you all saw that. Thank you, Tori. Hopefully you saw that. I will go through what this is. Dave Ward, the secretary of Royal Mail, and basically the company did post rock record profits, um, £758 million. This is due to mostly the pandemic, and as we have lots of shareholders, 400 million of that was awarded to them. Now, the CEO took a share bonus of, well, he rewarded himself something like £150,000. I forget the exact figure, and the chief financial officer rewarded himself 2 million, which is absolutely outrageous. Um, so yeah, these bonuses um, for hitting their targets, and then they chuck through the 2% increase. Now there is talk of a 5.5 pay increase for us, which is their words, Romel's words, but the mathematics just doesn't add up. Because what they want to do is make us accept um, terms and conditions changes that would remove the union, that would make us work less in the summer and more in the winter. So we would be going home. We would be working later in the day throughout. So we'll start sorting at say 8 o'clock instead of sort of sixes and sevens. We'll all have different time structures. What else has been planned? There's been all sorts of little things being planned to reshape the company. Now, last year or maybe 2 years ago, um, Royal Mail um, basically um, signed up with the union on something called the well, originally it was the Four Pillars Agreement, and then there was a Pathway to Change Agreement, I think it's called, and we were going through a process of changing the way the company was structured. Now, I work in a different team now. Um, I have been working on collections. So my job would to go into my van at a certain time, just every day, every weekday, and then drive over to the to post offices and the post boxes and empty them and fill up the van and bring it back to Royal Mail. I have a timed route basically, and I mustn't break down. I also pick up postal orders from post offices, which basically are the how you might transfer money between them. And I pick up, your first class, your second class, your track 48s, your returns from clothing companies. It's all picked up, and of course your PPI, which some resellers now do, where you've got your sheet. I scan the sheet. That basically, in effect, um, means that I've picked it up, and then and then it goes out on the system. Um, so yeah, there's change. There's change. Now I'm sort of on the new thing that they want to do, which is the tracked post. Now, the idea behind that is they want to split off Royal Mail into its own parcel company and compete with Hermes. And I'm kind of on that service. Now, if you send something tracked 24, it does mean 24 hours or just over, as the case may be with my deliveries and so on. So far. So I arrive now in the afternoons, and I pick up a whole pile of parcels, and then I take it out on a run, and I could be driving anywhere. Um, I might be going into someone's place, which might have a dog on the loose or something, somewhere I've never been before. Let's say so. I wouldn't be their regular postie and deliver. Now, one of the things that Track is good at is doorstepping, and I know that would freak people out, but we're allowed to put a parcel in an enclosed porch, a garage, or a shed, or any location that seems reasonable and there's a bit of protection. Normally, when we scan the barcodes, the customer who, well, may have their mobile phone or email address registered should get a message at that point that it's been delivered, and then they should suddenly appear out of nowhere and pick up their item if it's left on a doorstep. This is more and more of the trend of things. So that's a little bit of insight because we get a lot of grief about Hermes doorstepping and so on, but there is some logic behind it. Normally, the person gets a text or a notification because when you send the parcel, you send it by providing all the details. Now, tracked services are not available at your post office, so you can see there's a divide going on. They're trying to separate the two, and that's one of the reasons why post office are struggling. Um, because it's just there's just two companies now, and it's a bit problematic, really. Um, so as I say, you can't buy tracked through post office. You can only buy it online and so on, and then you deliver. You then give your parcel to the delivery office, not the post office. Some post offices will take it, but not all of them because it's a product that's kind of against. Even though eBay returns and a lot of things like that are tracked. It's a bit of a mess. So what else? What else can we talk about here? Um, Now, Every and Hermes, during the talks, well, the talks that never happened, um, Parcel Force, Simon Thompson, the CEO of Royal Mail, said he was going to send all the Parcel Force items through Hermes, uh, or DPD. He's going to offload it all so they get delivered. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what news comes out of that, whether or not that did actually happen or not. Um, but my friend is a courier driver for Every, and they are chock a block as it is. So more work for them is not good. Now, another thing I was going to talk about is Amazon. Amazon pulled out of Royal Mail a few years ago because we couldn't deliver on time. But now, um, they're back because of our Track 24 service. And of course, Amazon want things delivered pretty much straight away. So Track 24 with Amazon is now relevant. They still got their own drivers and so on, but there's a snag. You need something called hire and reward to be insured with, and that was quite expensive. It's now gone ridiculously expensive. Now, Amazon would normally cover you for hire and reward, but in the next few weeks, they're actually dropping it. So therefore, they've got to now offer more money to drivers, and with fuel prices going up and everything, a self-employed courier driver for Amazon just can't afford to drive. It's impossible. So they've got a problem. So so parcel prices, in my view, will go up. Um, as with everything at the moment. The £3 parcel, I think, may end up being the £4 parcel. Now, the other thing that I mentioned the other day in someone else's chat is large letter. Now, there's something called the USO, Universal Service Provider, which basically means Royal Mail has to deliver to every household in the UK at least once. Well, that's true. Over the last few years, Royal Mail's been fined for not meeting these restrictions. Royal Mail has also attempted to get rid of Saturday deliveries over the last few years. That has backfired, I believe. But ideally, what Simon Thompson and the board wants is to get rid of um, post altogether. Their words is costing us £1 million a day. Now we've been hearing these words now for a decade from different managers, senior managers, CEOs. They're losing £1 million a day. This has been going on, and it doesn't matter who goes it, and then they post record profits. Anyway, um, so yeah, so there's a fear of losing large letter, in my opinion, which is useful for resellers to send small items and clothing and DVDs and so on. That is somewhere in the region of 115 or 130 and so on. Monkey, hello mate, how you doing? Um, so I think what's going to happen is the price of large letter will change mostly because um, I don't think they want to. At the moment, that that service is just going to have to become, I don't know, very small parcels. Something's going to change, and I think that's going to go. Now, if they get rid of all the post, then all those items will probably go as well because letter is a large letter. So we need they're basically looking for a lot less. They don't really want to go to every door of the UK. That's basically what it is. It takes too long to deliver, and it costs too much. And there's a lot of us, a lot of people, so they're trying to cut us back. So, so that's what's happening there. I think if anything did happen to Royal Mail, then the government will have to produce some other thing, particularly with the takeover. Mr. Knight, Richard, how you doing? So just to explain what I'm just rambling on here. I've had some slides up about few of the Royal Mail changes, um, what's going on. As you probably have known, there's been strikes up and down the country about pay. 2% pay is what they offered us. Well, they haven't offered us; they forced it through, and so we voted. We've had two ballots at the moment, and also the post office crowns, the main post offices, have also been striking today. So I've basically just been going through the videos. It's very hard to just to go through all the bits and pieces I have said. And there's pretty much pointless putting anything in from a reseller's point of view into the system at the moment, because it's more than likely it's going to be a very, very long delivery. And it's a pay cut. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what we've been discussing. Um, we've got little bits in now. You may um, not like this, but the leaflets, what we call the door to doors, is actually a service that we get paid to do as a separate payment. And there's a good handful of little bits like that that have been added to your pay over the years. They want to cancel all the little added bits and just have one universal pay. They also want to turn us into a 7-day a week service. That would also apply to you eBayers as well, when you think about it. If we go 7 days a week, then your stats will be working that way. It's the same for me working at a local authority. We got a 2% pay rise, nowhere near in line with inflation. Yeah, yeah, that's the big problem, Tory, is the fact that the pays are not right. Even though we are seeing a lot of services at the moment, like the buses and so, I'm seeing like 10% pay rises coming out. So some people are getting there, getting this, and so on. So some people, yeah, it's happening for some. Um, Royal Mail Group basically plead that they haven't got any money, even though they paid all the shareholders 400 million. 400 million was paid out. Um, they took their bonuses, and now they're saying we haven't got any money. And they had 750 odd million in the bank recently, and it's just disgusting. So this isn't just a rant about Royal Mail. This is just to outline what's going on um, with the companies. Um, and post office is being shafted badly as well, because my local post office here, which is a Crown, well, no, it's a Crown in WH Smith's, so it's now got WH Smith's staff running it. It's basically what's going on there. A lot of the post offices were split off years ago because the government cutbacks and all the rest of it. So it's become more of a problem to send the parcel. So hence why um, we got Royal Mail making track parcels, putting in jeopardy first and second class. That to me, first and second class, I think it's dying. I think it's all going to go tracked, or you use a courier. That's what I think is what they're trying to push through at the board level at the moment. And as I've just said earlier, there is a takeover bid. The government is watching it. There was some new laws go through they mustn't screw the public up or something. Don't understand it, but basically if a certain business goes over 25%, they become control of Royal Mail. So, and that's in Luxembourg. Um, and that is a big change. If that happens, they could then decide the future of Royal Mail. So, so that's happened in the last 48 hours. The strikes have been everywhere. Um, as I say, next week is mixed up because you've got the bank holiday and then you've got the one day where you can get to a post office, even though they are some parts of them will be straight, some parts of them will be straight, like the supply and the admin, their managers and people who run the computers, I guess they will be striking. Um, and next week we'll be back out again. Let me read what you wrote. My eyes are not so good. Yeah, local post offices shut. Mine shut down. Um, yeah, mine shut down last week as well. Well, not last month, last as well. They they one of the problems we had here is the fact that people are rude to the post office people, and it's very complicated being a post office serving. There's so much of it. There's so much bits and pieces, and for the money they are doing the job for, it's just not worth it. So they've all been leaving and doing other jobs. Ah, yeah, OAP. My mother has to rely on the post office. So yes, and driving other places is just not acceptable. So the whole network at the moment is a complete and utter farce. And we're trying to hold on to it, and it's just breaking down. It's unreal. And as I say, for resellers, I think there's going to be trouble ahead, and reliance on Hermes and DPD and Yodel even, um, it's going to be very much happening. I reckon I do know a Hermes driver very well, and they just can't handle the pressure at times. The sorting is all done in car parks, um, or in the back of an industrial building or something like that, and things could get wet, or it's just a bit sad how it happens. Uh, doesn't add you. Yeah, my mum's only recently learned how to use a cash machine. I got three post office near me. Only one of them is a shop that does post office as well, which I try and avoid. Well, the story with the post office is they would get a £10,000 grant, I think it is, from the post office if they would merge into something like WH Smith's or one of the local supermarkets, and then they would get all the branding and everything. That's what it is, because I did look into buying or being part of a post office before about 6 or 7 years ago, and yeah, it's you don't actually earn much money behind the counter. Let's say if you run one, it's a bit sad, really. And I know in the countryside here, I know about three of them that have closed up. I know one of them is waiting for their retirement age. Let alone a lot of the post office got screwed over by Horizon, the till system that also uh, post office said, "Oh, it's perfectly fine," and now they're getting having to pay out loads and loads of lawsuits. So yeah, really bad. So the future for Royal Mail, um, I think the board has pretty much given up with us. They are going to be held accountable for us to give us a pay rise, and they have said they will give us a 5.5% pay rise, which isn't isn't even realistic, and the mathematics were incorrect when it's been looked into by the union. And what we would sacrifice is later start times. So what else would happen? Um, hello, Vincent. The future is solidarity. That's exactly right. I think you're a poster. I can't remember. See so many names. Um, they want later start times, which was pushing it into the day. Now, one of the things being on the track service delivering, if I deliver past 6 o'clock or now, well, it's dark outside now, but at 6 o'clock it's going to be dark. I'm going to be fighting against dogs, and a lot of posties bribe a dog with a biscuit, but I can't do that for everyone around here. That would be, I mean, it's a huge, huge area where I'm delivering now. Yes, that's right. The drivers. Yeah, you're one of the main Royal Mail Group ones. You're not on Manpower or you Vanguard, because Manpower have said they would join us, and Vanguard is Royal Mail owned agency, which I think is absolutely wrong. That's their way of trying to get rid of the main group. Um, Delivery got hammered. I bet it did. I bet it did. Wow, there's been a lot of pictures coming out today and a lot on the news and so on. So what I'm doing here, Vincent, is just going through what I think will happen to Royal Mail. These are my own personal views. Um, ugh, 16 plus years. Well, I've been with Royal Mail for seven, roughly seven, and I'm now on the track service, and I'm working Sundays, which is my voluntary reason. I chose to work Sundays, and I work 3 afternoons, so then I can work on reselling, and I can work on a shop that I've got here as well. And I do electrical repairs and so on. So I don't really want to use Royal Mail. It's my sort of way of preparing to leave. But Tract 48 and Tract 24, the competition to the post office, let's say, the the service that Simon Thompson wants us to use, they drop the prices to compete with the post office, I believe, in the last few weeks. And there was a staggering amount of parcels there last Sunday. Staggering amount. And we didn't actually get it all finished. Uh, yes, I don't leave all eggs in one basket, no way. Um, and I think that probably applies to you now as well, Vincent, being a reseller, I suspect. Um, One of the things you've got to remember is this Track 24 and 48 service is being run in the afternoons after delivery return with the vans. So we pick up the vans and then we go out and then we'll drive for 4 hours, let's say, following a route around our postcode area, and which can be anywhere up to 50 to 100 miles, and we will deliver doorstep, whatever's necessary to get rid of these parcels, because they're not, a lot of them won't be in our DO delivery office area. We'll only have so many in our own area, but when they go a little bit further out, then we have to give a different card, and hopefully it will connect next day. It's all bit amateurish at the moment. It's not perfectly designed, but it is what it is. That when I was full time, and there's 2 years they've told me it was temporary. Temporary, yeah. Uh, so Royal Mail track services, what they're trying to do, they're trying to get rid of the rest of it. Um, they're not interested in leaflets, letters, or anything like that, and they're trying to get out the USA. If they got out the USA, Royal Mail would make a significant amount of redundancies, without a doubt. Um, it would be really, really bad for Royal Mail. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Don't know where it's gonna go. But I thought I'd just give an insight here of what I thought. I've nearly spoken for an hour, 45 minutes on this. Um, but as I say, today's strike was basically about a 2% imposed pay rise, and it is not being accepted well because it doesn't work with the cost of living. We didn't have a say in the pay rise. It was forced upon us. We've now been given this sheet, which I don't have in front of me, of all the changes they want to do, and they will give us a smaller increase. Now, some of the changes, as I said already, one is later start times. Um, what else is there on there? Oh, the union. They want to get rid of the union out of the terms and conditions. Um, that basically is eroded down. Um, They've got agency workers working for them. They have their own agency called Angard. So they don't want people on contracts that we're on at the moment. They want to water down our contracts to be similar to the agency ones, which basically are like 0 hour contracts. Um, don't get me into politics. Yeah, okay. So what else is on there? As I say, deliveries will be later in the day. Um, I personally believe that resellers will have an awkward time selling lower value items soon. So I think postage will be expensive. In Australia, my friend Mel back from Burnout, her postage prices are quite high, and I think we'll be somewhere nearer to like send £3 or £4 for a small letter. I mean, a large letter, and then and so on. I think the 1 kilo and the 2 kilo differences at the post office versus what online prices, that'll be more realistic again. I just see things going up and up and up. So anyway, um, that's my insight to Royal Mail at the moment. So thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna disappear. I think I've rabbited on for a while. My pay has been deducted, Dave. N pen for this month. Penalties. Not sure what N pen means. Uh, I'm aware that we are calling this a pay reduction. With the five. Yeah. Oh, you mean all the little extras that we all have? Like, for instance, I have leaflets on my door to doors on my pay slip. That will be removed soon. And I think that's going through. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to do my own little thing here. I haven't done live. I haven't done anything on this channel for 1 year, and I wanted to see how many subscribers I got. I got about 5 over the last year. So so yeah, I am in a different place. My last videos were from a flat. I now live in a shop. Um, and there's going to be more about that soon. I have tons and tons of videos stored up, but unfortunately, I haven't even edit. I've done no editing, nothing, and I've grown scruffy as well. This is hundreds like what was added to 2%. Yeah. Yeah, I do look at the people's app, Vincent. I can't talk about it in public, but a few things have happened to mine. I've had some back pay, let's say, um, but that doesn't include the current changes. Right. All the best, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye bye.